In this video, we will explore the benefits of implementing small, easily achievable morning goals that's going to foster a positive mindset that compounds throughout the day. We will establish a positive tone for the day first thing in the morning and orient the brain's reward center towards positive seeking behavior. We're going to build a track record of success with minor actions. Picture this. We've all had that morning. You know the one I'm talking about. The alarm goes off, and your very first action of the day is a negotiation. You hit the snooze button. You tell yourself, just 9 more minutes. Not too bad. But then you do it again. By the time you actually drag yourself out of bed, you're rushing. You grab your phone and immediately start scrolling through social media, checking emails. You're letting the chaos of the outside world flood into your brain even before you brush your teeth. You rush out the door, maybe forgetting your lunch or your keys, and by the time you actually sit down to work or start your responsibilities, you're exhausted. You spend the rest of the day playing catch up, reacting to everything, feeling scattered. It's a terrible feeling. Now, compare that to a morning where you feel unstoppable. You wake up when you intend to, you're calm, you're focused, you move throughout your house with intention. You check things off a list with a sense of ease. The difference between these 2 days usually isn't about how much sleep you had or even about how much coffee you drank. It's about momentum. In this video, we aren't going to talk about waking up at 4 a.m. to take ice baths or run a marathon before the sun comes up. Hey, look, if that's your thing, great. But for most of us, that's not sustainable. Instead, we're going to talk about the psychology of small wins. We are going to look at how stacking tiny, almost effortless accomplishments in the first hour of your day can literally rewire your brain's chemistry. It springs you forward in a positive, productive flow that makes the rest of the day feel effortless. So, let's put the chaos behind us and fix your morning. Before we get into specific habits, we need to understand the mechanisms at play here. Why does completing small tasks make us feel so good? Well, there is a documented concept in behavioral psychology regarding the power of progress. Extensive studies on workplace motivation have found that the single most important factor in boosting emotions and perception during the day is simply feeling like you're moving forward, making progress in meaningful work. And here's the kicker. The size of that progress doesn't matter as much as you think. When you complete a task, your brain releases a hit of dopamine. Now, people often mistake dopamine for a pleasure chemical, but I'll tell you, it's actually a motivation chemical. It's a reward signal that records the experience and tells your nervous system, that was good, let's do it again. So when you wake up and immediately surrender to the snooze button or the endless scroll of social media, you're training your brain for passivity. You're starting the day at a loss. But when you complete one small, distinct task immediately after waking, you trigger a neurochemical chain reaction. You're literally engineering your brain to crave productivity. Think of it like the law of physics. An object at rest stays at rest. An object in motion stays in motion. The hardest part of the day is the start, and it requires the most energy to get moving. By using small wins, we lower the barrier to entry. We use these tiny habits to nudge the flywheel of our day so that by the time we hit our big tasks, we're already moving at speed. Behavioral experts often refer to this as the ripple effect, where one small positive change naturally leads to another, creating a cascade of good decisions. Today, we are building a routine around these 3 specific wins. We're going to pick an environmental win, a mental win, and a strategic win. Let's start with habit number 1, the environmental win. And honestly, this is the most cliche piece of productivity advice on the planet, but it's make your bed. Yep, I can hear you groaning. You might think, why does it matter? I'm just going to get back in it. But look, we need to look at this through the lens of psychology, not housekeeping. There is a reason high-performance military training often starts with this simple task. The logic is incredibly sound. By making your bed first thing in the morning, you have accomplished the very first task of the day. It's a small victory, sure, but it gives you a distinct sense of pride. It reinforces the idea that little things matter. And most importantly, it encourages you to do another task and then another. It's about self-efficacy. It takes less than 60 seconds to pull the sheets up, fluff the pillow, But in that 60 seconds, you are proving something to yourself. You are proving that you have discipline. You are proving that you respect your environment, and you're creating a visible representation of order in your life. There is also a biological component here. Our brains reflect our environments. When you wake up and leave your room in chaos, clothes on the floor, sheets tangled, you're creating visual noise. That visual clutter competes for your attention and actively and subtly increases stress levels. By tidying your space, you are clearing the path for a clear mind. When you walk back into that bedroom later in the day, the bed is made, and it's a signal to your subconscious. It says, I have my life together. I'm a person who handles their business. It's an environmental win that sets the standard for everything else you do that day. If you can be trusted to handle that, you can be trusted to handle big things. Now, once your environment is set, we move to number 2, the mental win. Most of us wake up and immediately default to what I call reactive brain. We check our texts, we check the news, we check our work messages. The second you do that, you have lost control of your morning. You are allowing the world's agenda to dictate your thoughts. You read an annoying email from a boss, suddenly your mood is ruined. You see a polarizing post online, and now you're angry and upset. You're reacting. You're not creating. To switch from reactive brain to proactive brain, we need a small buffer zone. We need to clear the cache, as it will. This is where the 5-minute brain dump comes in. You don't need to be a writer. You don't need to write a memoir. You just need a notebook and a pen. I recommend writing down 3 specific things. First, write down what you're grateful for. It's not just abstract positivity, it's biology. You can't be anxious and grateful at the same time. It forces your brain to scan the world for positives rather than threats. Second, write down the noise, the clutter. What are your nagging thoughts bouncing around your skull? I need to call the dentist. I'm worried about the meeting. I forgot to thaw the chicken. Get them out of your head and onto paper. Your brain is designed for generating ideas, not for holding on to them. Once they're on paper, your brain can relax because it knows the information is safe. That's your list. And third, write down a daily highlight. Fantastic productivity technique that involves defining a single focal point for the day. Ask yourself, what is the one thing that I need to get done today and that I'll feel satisfied if I do? By defining that early, you stop busy work from taking over your life. You give your day a bullseye to aim for. Now that you've secured an environmental win and a mental win, you have momentum. You're feeling good. Now we need to apply that energy to something tangible. We need the strategic win. This is where we apply all the positive momentum we have created so far and take a swing at our hardest task of the day. The premise is simple. Devote even a small amount of effort into your hardest task, the thing you should do first thing in the morning so you don't have to spend the rest of the day dreading it. In our modern lives, this is your most important thing. You're most likely to procrastinate this one. So here's what happens to most people. They put the difficult task off. They say, I'll do that after I clear my inbox. I'll do it after lunch. But the whole time they're doing those easy tasks, that difficult obligation is sitting there staring at them. It drains your energy. You carry the mental weight of that unfinished task around like a heavy backpack. And by 4 p.m., you're too tired to do it. So you push it to tomorrow and the cycle repeats. But if you tackle that difficult thing first thing, before you check your emails, before you get distracted, you get a massive surge of relief. The worst part of your day is over by 9, and you feel capable to handle it. Here's the trick. You don't have to finish the whole project. You just have to start. Commit to working on that difficult task for just 20 minutes. Usually, the dreaded task is much worse than the actual work involved. So once you break the seal and get started, you're likely to keep going. Use your morning energy, which is your highest quality mental energy, for your highest quality work. Now, before you rush off to overhaul your entire life, I need to warn you about a trap. I do see this constantly. People get motivated. They watch a video and they decide they're going to have the perfect morning routine. They decide, starting tomorrow, I'm up at 5 a.m. I'm going to meditate for 30 minutes. I'm going to do an hour of yoga. I'm going to read a nonfiction book and journal 3 pages and cook a gourmet breakfast. That's a recipe for disaster. That is perfectionism disguised as productivity. If your routine is that complex, the first time you have a bad night of sleep or feel a little groggy, you'll quit. You'll miss one part of it and feel like a failure and abandon the whole thing. The goal of the routine we discussed today is that it's durable. It's easy enough to do on your worst days, not just your best days. Let's look at the time commitment. Making your bed takes a minute. The brain dump, 5. Difficult task, maybe 20. That's less than 30 minutes total. You can fit that into almost any schedule. Consistency beats intensity every single time. It's better to do a 10-minute routine every single day for a year than a 2-hour routine for 3 days and then quit. Don't build a routine for the fantasy version of yourself. Build it for the real you. At the end of the day, success isn't about gigantic heroic leaps. It's not about overnight transformations. It's about small steps taken consistently. It's about stacking one small win on top of another until they form a tower of achievement. Momentum is your best friend. If you can win the first hour of the day, you have statistically increased your odds of winning the rest of the day. You're taking control of your time rather than letting your time control you. So, here's my challenge for you. Tomorrow morning, don't touch your phone until you have done 3 things. Make your bed, write down your focus, and spend 20 minutes on that important task. Try that for a week and see how different your life feels. Don't trust me, there's neurochemistry involved. Mindfulness, self-care, clarity, hallmarks of human agency. Focus on these principles and you'll switch from reactive, consuming content, to proactive, creating order. I want to hear from you guys. What is one small habit you swear by in the mornings? Or what is the one difficult task you've been avoiding that you're going to tackle tomorrow? Drop it in the comments below, and I'll read through them. I'm always looking for new ideas to test myself. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel. And subscribe for more content on how to live a happier, healthier, more productive life. Thanks for watching. Go win your morning.